Thank you very much, Chair, and congratulations to all the nominees. Mr. Starks, I guess I'll start with you because there's something Senator Cruz and I do agree on, and that's competition. And as chair of the Antitrust Subcommittee, I've been focused on the role competition plays in making high-speed broadband more affordable. And yet we have 87 million Americans that have only one choice for internet access. They don't have a competitor to turn to. If confirmed, what steps would you take as a commissioner to help promote competition in broadband that would benefit consumers? What have you been doing on this a very important issue?
Absolutely, and in particular, thank you for your leadership. I think increased competition, the focus in particular on rural areas everywhere is a priority of the FCC. Our mapping efforts and in making sure that we have accurate data that informs where dollars are ultimately going to flow. I think all of that is increasingly important in making sure that access gets everywhere. One of the critical issues that we're focusing on cracking down on the digital divide.
Exactly. Appreciate that. Ms. Gomez, enjoyed our brief conversation yesterday, brief only made by me because I had to run in for a vote. With your prior experience, other places like NTIA, could you talk about coordination? We have last year the FCC, NTIA, and USDA and Treasury announced that they would share information about the collection and reporting of data and metrics about broadband deployment. This has been through many administrations. This has been various agents working on this, including during the Trump administration. And this follows the passage of a bill that Senator Wicker and I did, the Broadband Interagency Coordination Act, that we passed in December of 2020. Can you talk about how your prior experience will help when you're dealing with, understandably, different agencies working on this important deployment of broadband?
Thank you very much for that question, Senator, and I very much enjoyed our conversation. As I mentioned previously, it is true that I was able to work at both the NTIA and the FCC on matters related to deployment of networks and broadband. I hope to be able to bring that experience to bear in understanding how each of the programs works. And coordination is extremely important. We want to make sure that the funding goes as far as it can to reach those that need it. And so, although there are different programs, they have different rules, a constant conversation among the agencies is important.
Okay, thank you. Estimated 240 million calls are made to 911 centers annually. I've long co-chaired the 911 broadband caucus. This public service is so important. We have to make sure that we have more updated technology. In many places, that doesn't even support text messages. Briefly, the importance of upgrading 911 systems.
Thank you, Senator. That is such an important issue. Next Generation 911 will do much to improve the ability of first responders to reach those that are in need. It's being implemented, but it depends a lot on local conditions and local funding. So absolutely support getting upgrades to the 911 centers nationwide as fast as possible.
Thank you. Mr. Carr, congratulations on your nomination, renomination, I guess. Just quickly, what you see, this major bipartisan infrastructure law, FCC major role, just what do you think that the FCC should be doing to make sure we advance the deployment of broadband? There have been areas, as you know, that get grants, and then I like this bill because we put something in that we would claw it back if the phone company doesn't actually, or whatever company doesn't build the broadband, and that's one of my obsessions because we have 144,000 households in Minnesota. We're actually doing better than some states, but that lack high speed. Just quickly on that.
Well, thank you, Senator, for all your leadership on this. One thing that we can do to help extend the funding that Commerce is putting out is permitting reform. There's still a lot more that we can do to streamline this so that all of these infrastructure investments go directly into the ground rather than to red tape. And this is particularly important for rural communities. I had the chance to visit Morris, Minnesota, a small town, a manufacturing plant there. They had 800 employees, and they told me they would not have located there or stayed there but for broadband. So when you think about the economic opportunity that comes if we get this right, it's important.
Exactly, and we just did some permitting reform, as you know, with the debt ceiling agreement, which I supported, and there is hopefully more we can do here. So thank you for that. Last question, Ms. Damlin. Talk about your federal prior experience to help you to meet the demands of oversight at the FCC and why it is a more important role than ever.
Thank you so much for the question, Senator. So I've spent the last close to 20 years protecting these types of critical programs from fraud, waste, and abuse, and helping agencies succeed in making sure that the funding gets where it needs to get. And if confirmed, I would very much enjoy the opportunity to do the same for FCC.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, all of you.